The topic for this video is going to be enzymes. So enzymes, remember when we were talking about amino acids? Enzymes are a type of protein. So they're made up of amino acids hooked together into a longer polymer. The important thing about enzymes is going to be the three-dimensional shape is going to be important in the function. Because if you destroy the three-dimensional shape of that protein, our enzyme isn't going to function anymore. With enzymes, really when we're talking biologically, enzymes are also catalysts, all right? If you remember from your chemistry class, catalysts are products that are added to a chemical reaction, but don't change the overall chemical reaction. They just make the chemical reaction go faster. And that's what enzymes are doing in our cells and within our body, all right? Enzymes are there to speed things up, to make chemical reactions go faster. And in terms of enzymes, the way they do that, and the way your book kind of diagrams it and explains it, is a little like this, okay? We've got over here our reactants. Down here, we've got our products, all right? And with chemical reactions, remember, reactants, let me make sure I spell that right. Then you've got the arrow, they give you products, okay? In terms of our reactants, all right, we've got something here that we're going to start out with, and then our product, presumably, is going to be something different down here. Where enzymes play a role are in this little hump right here. Because what the enzymes do, okay, is they lower that activation energy. And what that activation energy is that's really the hump that the chemical reaction has to get over to go from being a reactant to being a product, okay? So that little bit in green in here that I've got, this is the activation energy. And what enzymes can do is they make that hump smaller. So they lower the activation energy, so it takes less effort for the chemical reaction to go from reactants to products, all right? And the way an enzyme is going to do that, okay, because I said three-dimensional shape is important, enzymes are going to have some particular three-dimensional shape. This is going to be our enzyme in pink here. And then when we've got something that'll match that three-dimensional shape of our enzyme, we've got our substrate, okay? The substrate, essentially, our reactant, it's going to interact with the enzyme, and what's going to happen, that enzyme, when that substrate sits in the enzyme, is that's going to create our product. Okay? And I've changed the shape there just to show kind of diagram that you're going from one substance to a different substance. All right? And the example that I've got in the PowerPoints and that the book uses is something that we've talked a little bit about. All right? One of the enzymes that we've talked a little bit about is lactase. Sorry, lactase. We're talking the enzyme here. Right? Our substrate for lactase, this is now where we've got our lactose. This is our sugar. Remember that lactose is a disaccharide. It's composed of a glucose and a galactose. All right? That lactose interacts with lactase. Lactase then is going to cleave the chemical bond between the glucose and the galactose. That gives us our product, okay? And in the case of lactose, our products would be our monosaccharides, our glucose, and our galactose, all right? And the thing about enzymes that's great as far as their function is that they're reusable. So once that enzyme breaks down that one molecule of lactose, that frees up our lactase to break down another molecule of lactose. All right? So those enzymes are reusable. And the other thing that's great about enzymes is that they are very specific for a particular substrate. All right? So our lactase here can only break down lactose if we have sucrose. Sucrose can't fit in the three-dimensional opening that lactase has in order to have that chemical reaction work, okay, or to have that chemical reaction go. But sucrase is going to be the enzyme that breaks down sucrose. So if we have sucrase, our enzyme there is going to look a bit more, let me draw that a bit more square, like that. Okay? So it's very specific for a substrate. You've got one enzyme that works on one particular substrate. So in our body, we have thousands and thousands of different enzymes that perform and help the chemical reactions that are going on in our body. So enzymes and their ability to do work is just amazing within the body because they can break down the molecule. They're very specific, and the great thing about them is that they're reusable. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. I've got one more video on enzymes just to kind of show you a bit more practical application of how enzymes are working within our body and within the environment. If you have any questions about this, please let me know.